Hello everybody, it's Hugh here from Creator Up. Today we're gonna talk about a very special topic that concern any 360 video camera is stitching. So even new camera like Zcam S1 Pro, S1, and also Insta360 Pro and other camera, they use the technique called optical flow stitching to get rid of the parallax issue, like what you happen in all the old GoPro rig. Even with that, we still see halo and ghosting around subject right now. So right now filming it is the Insta360 Pro camera I have, and I'm intentionally moving around. I'm actually standing right facing the LED panel, LED screen on the camera, which is in between that center, in between lens 1, it's just right here, lens 1 and lens 2. So I'm just moving around, my hand reaching out everywhere. Just doing that and let you see if you're using the native software called Insta360 Stitcher, you will see the stitching problem have even with the newest firmware, newest software with the Stitcher. So as you can see right now, you probably see a halo around me. If not, we see me ghosting around. That is an artifact of optical flow stitching because I'm literally standing very close to the camera, like I would say like 2 meters, 1 feet away from the camera. You're actually not supposed to stand that close to the camera when you stand in between the stitch point. So I will show you in post-production how to use this software called Mistika VR to fix this problem entirely. Also, right now filming it, I'm using the exposure mode called isolated exposure mode. What it does is individually expose each lens according to the sun around the camera. As you see, if you turn around in the back, there's a chair right there, really intricate chair, but the whole area is under shading area, so it's pretty dark. But right here, you can see the sun is right on top of me, right there on that side, shine on my face. So this size of lens should is overexposed. Using isolated exposure mode, you can like even out the color. But the problem is for this camera specifically, it's actually getting the ISO and exposure of the environment is always not doing that good, and we need to fix it in post to even out the color and exposure of different lenses. So when you stitch together, you will not see an inconsistent coloring, which happen in a lot of like consumer level camera like Nikon, Keymission, or Gear. And other thing is, I try to intentionally not balance this camera, so hopefully you will see after stitch the camera is actually in a level. So if you move around and it's not level, so I will also fix that in Mistika VR. So I will see you in post. Hello, welcome back to my studio where all that magic happened. So I am in Premiere right now, and I just brought in all the footage. I actually want you to see the footage I brought in, and the actually stitched by this footage is actually stitched by Insta360 Stitcher. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is the software I use to stitch this footage. So this stitcher is actually free. Free come with the camera you purchase. Actually, it's just free. You can go download it. I think it's the only free stitcher software out there in the market, which is pretty amazing. But again, you can only use that for Insta360 Pro camera, which is the camera I own. The other famous stitcher also called Wonder Switch by Zcam and all the other stitcher software. So if you buy an expensive camera, you usually will have a fancy stitcher software come with the camera. Can basically do basic stitching feature like you see right here. If you want to learn how to using this software, I have a tutorial on my YouTube channel. But again, if you don't use Insta360 Pro, the camera, you don't really need to use this stitcher. You can also use Auto Panel, Video Pro, and other stitching software out there. But the problem is if I use this Insta360 Stitcher or any other stitching software, which have no control of the color and where I want to focus on the subject, you will see this problem. So look at this footage, you pay attention. If you see here, this area is darker. For some reason, it's just the same blue sky, but this is darker because that is the color of the lens right here. And then here is kind of lighter, and this is really light because the sun is right here, right? So the fall off of the color is not consistent. That To be honest, this is already a really good job compared to two lens camera created by Nikon Key Mission. That's actually very bad. You can literally see the stitch line. You can literally see the two lenses sit together in camera. That is basically unusable in professional level on Nikon Key Mission. I'm sorry, I love Nikon Key Mission 360, but the stitching software internally is not that great. The same problem you will see in Xiaomi and also Gear 360. So this is a very common issue for color inconsistent for stitching software for 360 videos. Even with the fancy Insta360 Pro, we still have the issue. And I have to tell you that I actually, in the camera, I turn on something called isolated exposure mode. What it means is it individually expose each lens. The camera has 6 lenses, so each lens will actually adjust its brightness and ISO according to the light outside. Like if one camera facing to the sun, like right here, the camera will underexpose, and if the camera facing me, which is here, darker area, will be overexposed, so we'll adjust accordingly. So already the camera did a really great job to like balance each camera internally. If you use other camera, that's actually would be worse. But now the camera did the job, but still not perfect. So we see this like fall off and in color. I mean, in a real life scenario, if you turn it on VR mode, I mean, it's really hard. Well, you can tell right here, but still like it's very hard to tell. Even in this scenario, I mean, if you want to be perfect, or your client say that, hey, can you fix this spot of color inconsistent? Well, now I'll tell you how to fix that, and also the stitching problem. So let's open the software we're gonna use it today. Is Mistika VR by GSO. And as you see, I already have a couple projects here, but I will just create a new project right here. I know that the resolution of my camera, Insta360 Pro, is 8K. So it's 8K footage, and I shot in 30 frames per second. Test V3. And the version, as you see, is 8.8.1 for Optical VR, and it's actually still in beta. So the step 1 is actually gonna import all my footage I shot in here, right here. So that is all the raw footage comes straight out from my camera. So I gotta select all 6 lenses. This is 6 lens camera, right? Drop it right here. Okay, so now all lens is imported. So first thing you see is the grip mode. So it's each lens right here. So you can turn this off. Then you see this like distorted view, because Mistika VR doesn't know what camera you use. It doesn't matter. You don't need to know what camera you use, because it's a software doesn't base on camera, like not like Auto Panel by GoPro or Stitcher by Insta360 and Wonder Stitch by Zcam. It doesn't matter. You can stitch literally any camera you film. So go ahead. You have the lower preset right here, low preset, and you see that all the presets for any camera you see, like from Samsung Gear to Zcam S1 Pro to like the GoPro Rig, like GoPro Omnia, like everything in here. They even have the Ozo, the Jod with expensive camera. What else? I believe they also have the brand new camera. Yeah, they have all the camera you need there, and OS and GSO also, if a new camera coming out, you guys send them a support ticket, and they will actually create a profile for the new camera you purchase. So in this case, I have an Insta360 Pro. Let me look for the profile right here. Right here. Each lens is actually in 4K, so that is a 4K resolution. So I'll pick this profile, hit open. You see immediately stitch correctly for my footage. So you see like 6 lenses all stitched together in a correct horizon line. The center is off because now the back of the camera actually facing the center. So the first thing I'm gonna do is actually I want to move my subject, which is right here, me, the actor to the center of the lens, and in here this line, so that is what your viewer will see. This is the first frame. Think about this, a VR mode, or actually I will show you. Hit here, the VR icon. So that is the first thing user will see. Well, you don't want user to see the chair first. You want to see me first. So first step is you want to adjust here into the center. Which is a really useful feature. So how you do that is actually very easy. In position, you just need to bake in the output camera right here. And then in output camera, this section, the yard, you can just adjust. You see, if you move it like that, you're moving subject, right? I basically want to flip the back of the camera into the front into the back, right? So just at 180 degree. Can do the math right here. It's easy. Boom. So now I'm dead center in the frame, which is amazing. So also you can align, see the red line right here, tell you which camera it is, and this line sit on the border, meaning that now here is center 180 degrees. Great. Okay, the second thing I want to do is I want to show you real quick is no matter what rig you use in the outside scenario, there's always some problem that you did not calibrate your camera correctly in a horizon level. This shot is actually calibrated like great because I did calibrate. I know I mentioned that I did not calibrate, but I actually calibrate in the second take. So this footage is actually pretty straight, but you see this telephone pole is kind of like slammed still. You can fix that if you want to. And in Mistika VR, it's actually very easy to fix horizon line. And one thing I love about it, and usually I need to fix horizon line, I need to do it in post in After Effects using Metal Skybox and Mocha VR, which are two really expensive software. Expensive not only in the price level, it's expensive to fix because in the rendering time, in the workflow, and the time it is spent to just to make the horizon level straight. So unless you need stabilization, I would not touch Mocha VR because it's very machine intensive. But I mean, in all a professional gig, you need to use it. But if you can avoid using it, that'll be great. And that is what this feature for. So right here, turn on the grip system. The grid system. When you turn it on, you have alignment to see how thing is slanted or not. So here hit control, I believe. Okay, actually, sorry. You can hit control, but it's all on a PC, so you can just, because the rotation is off, so all is a rotation. So if you just move it down, and you see this line right now is almost aligned with, maybe a little bit, almost aligned with the horizon line. Okay, is it really level though? Okay, you can also like move around here to make sure it's level. That was actually not really level. So, okay, there you go. So now the footage is level. Again, this is a hard to tell because this footage I don't have a really like straight horizon line. But if you have a really straight horizon line, it's actually very easy to tell. So I'll turn it off. So it's pretty level. If you don't believe me, we can move around. See, it's pretty level. Awesome. So turn it off. So again, I want to show you just a really quick the control here. I mean, the only thing I use actually turn it on this a lot because I want to see the VR mode. So actually what I can see when I put in a VR goggle. So it's really convenient. You can just spin around, find out problem area, and you see a ton of problem area like me ghosting like crazy here. Okay, so that will be the next problem to fix. So in this footage, and you see if you put all the lens together, this is lens 1, this is lens 6. I literally spend wide between lens 1 and lens 6, which you should never do that when you film on the field. You should let your actor know that, hey, stand in this camera, not in the other camera, or don't stand in between them. But if you're facing the LED panel of the Insta360 Pro, that's what you get. You get not pretty good stitching if you're not using optical flow fixing it. But again, my rule of thumb is if you don't need optical flow to fix stuff, if you don't need to fix stuff, that's the best scenario because you don't want to fix stuff. Even optical flow or other fancy technology to fix your parallax issue is software fixed. And when the subject is moving or the camera is moving, the issues will still come up. So the ideal scenario first is actually turn off optical optical flows and try to fix everything manually and until it's perfect, and then using last step optical flows to rescue all the stuff that you cannot fix. Optical flow is just a tool, and one thing I don't like, well, not say I don't like about it, but it's just one thing about Insta360 Stitcher or like Wonderstitch or all the other software is, yes, it uses optical flow stitching, but you just use it. It doesn't let you control how you want to use it, how much you want to use it, and what lens you want to use it. So usually you have no control of like what do you want to do as a filmmaker, as a creator, as a director. They always have like preference and option, like what you want to focus in the frame. It's always like that. Like in here, this frame I want to focus two things: me and the chair. Let's assume the chair is also another actor because I only me myself filming right now. But anyway, so I'm the actor and I want me to in focus. But right now, unfortunately, the lead actor is stand smack between two lenses. We need to fix that. So how? So one great thing about Mistika VR is it gives you the full control to let you focus what is matter to you, and in here is me as the actor. So you can either pick lens, or actually you can hit here, you tell you that which lens is pointing right now. You can either pick camera 1 or camera 6 to cover myself, and here I gotta pick camera 1, and just easier there. And when you hit camera 1 right here, it's already selected. So you see input camera right here, and that is this very important, tiny but important thing you can change. It's called weight. If you increase the weight rate number, if you see the green line, it expanded. Now it try to cover me entirely. Actually, let's find a better point than see me actually like talking. So as you see right now, I'm right here. Yeah, I'm right here. So let me zoom in a little bit. So, but you see this green line right now, that is camera 1. My goal in here is try to let camera 1 cover as much as me as possible. So me is only in one camera, so there's no stitching necessary. Because if in one camera, there's no stitching problem. It's just in one camera. So basically, I modify the thing about the weight is basically modify the camera angle and the pose, so you can cover as much ground as possible. If you see, even you cutting out my hand, but if you take a closer look, let's put it in VR, you actually have no problem here. This is perfectly stitched, so it's great. So that's what I need to expand my camera, and that's actually done. That's how easy to fix issue of subject. So with that, if you output the footage, I will smack back in the center. I don't even need to use optical flow, and I will, as an actor, I will show there's no problem here. But again, let's further fix stuff here. As you see, because I'm moving this camera, we create this artifact in everywhere here. So there's another thing I can do. Well, actually, let's find a better frame and tell you the situation right here. I believe in here. Okay, so right here, see, I want to lean toward camera 6. I really want to show you the problem area. So I'm actually step out of the maximum level of camera 1. There's another way to fix it. So besides weight, I have other magic trick to use in Mistika VR. It's actually called edge point. So crazy edge point, basically add a point into camera 1, and then you can drag and expand that area and cover the subject right here. Let's see it cover the subject. So let's go on the before. Now I'm entirely in the frame. But if I don't have that, let's move it out. See, you see ghosting right here, me ghosting around. But you know, fix that. You can basically just use that edge point and expand it right here. Cover me, but expand it. So here's the fine point, and you try to use because you have 6 lens, but now the camera 6 is not much using it, so you gotta be careful here. You will try to maintain like you're still using camera 6 and camera 2, not too much camera 1. That is at least my internal measurement, so I will not go crazy. So now I'm covering myself, which is great. And then let's just take a closer look. It's pretty amazing. So if you drag it, see the shadow is all messed up, and you also see this max line here. So right now I'm not using optical flows, but let's see if optical flow will fix this issue. So let's turn it on just for demonstration purpose. You see it, turn it on. So the camera tried to like merge the pixel in between, so that line, the shadow line, now look absolutely fixed now, which look amazing. But see the problem here? This line right here, even if optical flow, because you use too much of the camera 1 and not enough coverage of camera 6, you see this line, hard line right here. If you pay attention, you will see it. You can ignore it, but I mean, if your client notice this line and say, hey, can you fix that? You need to know how to fix it, right? So let's go back here. Let's just don't use optical flows first. As the first principle, I want to fix stuff that without using optical flows. So now we need the camera 5, which is this one, right? It's camera 6. Original 5, camera 6. So now we are not using too much of this camera, but we can use a lot of it. So again, go ahead and add an edge point. Let's make the edge point right here. Try to look at the magic. Cover this part as much as possible. Right here. Actually, a little bit more. Right here. Okay, so that area is gone now. If you pay attention, hard line, it's gone now. Okay, so obviously we're bringing issue. Look at here, right? Because I bring an edge point back on cutting out camera 1. You see my foot is have a ghosting, but is that really matter though? Let's look at optical flow. If it's already fixed that, if you're hitting optical flows, that actually fix it. If you turn the VR mode on and smack behind here, and also if you hit this 2 line icon, you hide all the line, and actually see what's going on with my foot. It actually look perfect. My foot is not cut off because the magic of optical flow, right? So to me, stitching problem fixing is basically jumping in between, moving the weight, adding edge point to cover the camera, and optical flow. 3 things like together to find the perfect balance to fix every problem in your scene. That is at least how I approach this. So, but again, I want to turn it off. Bring it back to VR mode and make sure I actually turn everything back on to make sure I fix that issue. Great. Okay, so I fixed that issue now. So now my subject is, turn back on optical flow. So now my subject is perfect in frame. So after you move around camera, if you turn back on optical flows, again, there is more feature in Mistika VR, because right now it's actually a misalignment between, right here, see right here, there is a misalignment between camera 1 and camera 6. I want to fix it before actually using optical flow. So just hit input alignment. So it somehow fixes it, get closer. So let me try again. A good thing about these things, you use it many times to just find the perfect balance between alignments. So go ahead and hit one more time. You see that? It's fixing it already. Input alignment. Oh my god, it's almost fixing it. So that is really close. To me, I think it's a really close standard. So now I can just use optical flow and just fix it. Because if you are misaligned with 2 lenses, optical flow will do more work and stretch out more footage, so your footage will look less real if people pay attention when they look at that point. Again, it's in the background, it's not in the subject, so probably unnoticeable. But I will always try to fix alignment first before using optical flow. That is the last resource to use. It's not a magic wand. You gotta use it in a strategized way. Okay. So again, if you also pay close attention on the footage, let me zoom in right here, you also see some little problem here. If you cannot see it, I actually bring in VR mode and look at the sky right here. There's an inconsistent color here. This is actually a misalignment. See the cable right here go up. Even in optical flow, if you turn off optical flow, you see more obvious. So that is a problem. Even optical flow cannot fix. And always in any VR situation, and it's always hard when you see like single line, one across two lens, and that is always an issue. In old time, you cannot even fix it without optical flows. So now we can actually fix it. So let's try to fix it. So turn this off again. Turn all the camera on. So you can actually add more than one edge point right here. I add one more edge point and I push this up. Pay attention. So right here, push up a little bit right here to cover the problem area, but not touching my. So you want to put it right there, cover that area, but still leave my head. A little bit is fine because we can see if optical flow is actually not working yet. But now I should fix the cable issue. If you go back there, cable issue is gone. Look, now it's all straight line. And if your client just like, you know what, I saw this cable is not like aligned correctly, it's really annoying me, can you fix that? You can actually fix that, which is great. In the old time, just tell the client, say, I'm sorry, I don't know how to fix it, I cannot fix it, it's just a limitation of VR. But nowadays, the limitation is actually really small now. You can literally fix everything if you want to fix them. So now I fixed that issue. Okay, so now let's even go a little bit crazier. Let's zoom back in, and now let's look at the second object. So sometimes, I mean, most of the time, you have more than two important interest point for people to look at. And for this scenario, because I only have myself, I can put a chair here to actually something interesting to look at. Let's look at the chair. So put on VR mode. Let's spin to the chair area and turn off all the guide. And you see here, the chair is actually a very challenging chair. Why I put the chair here is because the chair is really intricate. It's all the line come across, and you see the stitching point here, and here's optical flow stitching. If you turn it off, you see like you have ghosting because there's merging of the two lenses, right? And its optical flows cannot fix it really well because optical flow is just not good at doing with straight line stuff, and that show you actually really good at the limitation of optical flow. So in order to fix that, it's actually same way how you fix me. Turn everything back on. In here, as you see, the chair is covered by camera 3 and camera 4. Camera 4 covered a little bit. So basically, I just need to pick camera 3 right here. It's camera 2, original 2, camera 3. I add an edge point. And just push it to try to cover the entire chair. And then let's put the VR mode back because look at that. I can turn on optical flow. You see the chair is, there's no ghosting there already. So I can turn on optical flow to fix the mirror and the behind. But see, now the chair is rescued and you can see clearly all the little line come across, which is great. Because you have an 8K camera, you want to see the detail of the object. And that really like destroy the detail because the stitching problem, and you want to fix it as much as possible. So let's turn back on. Let's look around the footage to see more problem here. Because I move so much about edge point, usually I did something that I realized about Mistika VR. If you use too much of edge point, you have some footage it just not covered correctly. So if you, I'll show you what I'm talking about. If you stare down the ground, well, it's not really obvious of this footage, but you see something like this thing. It's very weird. It's artifact. I can easily fix it by just because we squat camera 4 so right here. So I'm just need to add more edge point. Maybe push it down a little bit. So a little bit more coverage. See that? A little more coverage of the sandbag, which usually you don't care because I usually just like the least concern is the sandbag because I gotta cover it in my logo and stuff. But you know what? I want to just be perfect of this scene because this is a tutorial to be perfect, right? So I spent a little bit more time, so just save me. Also, camera file, I can add edge point, again, push it to fix all that problem. And now let's just turn VR mode on and look down. See, now the really weird tear issue is all gone. Now everything look perfect, and then we can even see a little bit of the monopod, which is pretty amazing. Like you cannot do that. You cannot even see. That is so close to the camera. You usually would not be able to see at all if in camera stitching or any stitching software. But if you want to somehow recover the telephone pole, I mean the monopod, you can do that. But again, I would just cover it with logo or just like mocha it out. Mellow VR lit out tripod. That is a lesson for the other time. But anyway, let's turn it back on. So now everything looks perfect. So the last thing I want to show you is actually very important. Remember, I mentioned about the color inconsistency here. Let's turn it back on. The color inconsistent of the Stitcher software. I want to fix that. So in another really secret weapon and great feature the Mistika VR has. Let's turn everything off right here. You also see that color inconsistent right here, somewhere in here. So hold on a second. Before I even fix that, I see some kind of artifact right here because not enough coverage. So I'm just really quickly fix that in here. At the edge point. Little bit, and then camera front at the edge point right here. Okay, so now we have more coverage because we really squat the lenses, the lens 6 in here to encompasses the lens 1, so we need more coverage to cover point that camera cannot coverage. So now it should be all good. Oops. Okay, so I don't notice any more problem anymore. It's great. So, but again, we don't want to fix the color, right? So, really fast. So it's actually very that simple. Hit here, match color, boom. See the change? Now everything's even out. So here the blue even out. In here the light even out. It's the color inconsistency just gone in a click of button. It's like magic. Sometimes if you are moving, let's say that you're on a horse, you're on a car, and you're moving, the sun keeps changing, color is changing over time, right? So that's what you need. You can match color in time. So if you hit that, the software will actually from frame 1 all the way to frame 10, and then like each matching of color and fix it in time. So there's always a way to fix color inconsistency. This is like crazy. Sometimes, let's say that Mistika VR allow you to adjust different exposure of different lens in post-production, which is crazy. I mean, you can do that with Zcam V1 Pro because it's a $8,000 camera. You can do it before you're filming it. But let's say that you don't have that camera, like you have this one, Insta360 Pro, which is not allow you to adjust exposure individually, manually of each lens, but you can do it in post. Let's say that I really want to focus on me as a subject, right? I want to shine light on me. So if you pick this camera right here, it's an input camera, I can bump up the exposure right here. But you see right now, you see a dark spot right here. Don't worry about it. I can just fix it again by matching color. Boom, look at that. Now I am light up, but the whole scene adjusts color according to how much I light up, which is like magic. I love this feature. It saves me so much time in color correction between lenses. Again, if you think this is true exposure and you cannot see the cloud really clear, you can, in the output camera, you can adjust the exposure in a global level. Look at that. We turn it down. Now you can see the cloud show up, which is great because this whole footage is actually like overexplode because of the sun. So just a little bit darker, so I can bring out all the detail of the sky. So now I think it's perfect. Again, take a look at the VR goggle right here. Look around, play it, and find out any problem. Fix it. To me, VR is just time consuming. If you want to be perfect, no stitching problem, you can fix it with all three features: weight, edge point, and also optical flow. And also you can use feather. Here feather I think is perfect, but again you can adjust this one to also fix more issue if you need more control of a stitch point. But to me, I don't need to use feather on this one because everything look perfect. So last thing is how to output it. It's really easy right here. File, export. Hit right here. One thing cool about Mistika VR is they actually provide QuickTime ProRes format, so I can, if I have a ton of hard drive space, I really want my raw footage be like really raw, so I can ProRes 444. If you want to save some space, you can ProRes HQ. The good of using ProRes is if you're working on a Mac system, which I have at both Mac and PC, with ProRes, you actually render it faster in Premiere. So it's a great. I don't need the extra transcode to ProRes to just work with Premiere. If you see here on Instant, the format is only H. Yeah, where's the format actually? If you put a video here, let's just put a video here. I'm gonna show you what's going on. Just drop a video in here in the Stitcher. And then we tell you the format is only PNG sequence, and MP4. Oops. And the codec is H.264 codec and H.265. So I mean, Premiere can handle that, but still, Premiere do more work to handle it, so it's slower. So in order to save your CPU power and on workflow in a Mac workflow system, if you're on a Hackintosh or whatnot, it's good to just transcode it into ProRes QuickTime. So here I make a mistake. One thing that I always make a mistake is you need to output audio. So audio on Insta360 Pro is usually on camera 1, so make sure you turn on audio. If not, your output file have no audio. So go ahead and export again. Tell the audio is in movie. Just file location and hit export. And another thing I want to tell you that is this software is very, very fast. I mean, for a SAM clip, long clip, take Stitcher maybe like half an hour, would take him like 15 minutes to do it. SAM system. Because for some reason, this software is just very powerful because the developer is really good at using the GPU rendering feature and using every power of a machine. Turn it on, the fan turn on immediately, machine run really hard to render. So it's a good thing. So this is also a time saver for all the post professional. You want to save time on your stitching workflow. So hopefully you learned something from this video. It got a little bit long because I really want to show you everything I learned and everything I discovered on this amazing software, Mistika VR. Still in beta, but it's already amazing. One thing I have to point out, which is a con for this software, is if you are shooting in stereoscopical 3D mode, and unfortunately right now, at the time of recording, Mistika VR is not supporting 3D. Hopefully in the coming months, they will release a feature and also help fixing the stitching problem in 3D, and I will be very exciting. Also, this software is subscription based. Again, I'm not associated with them at all. I just look at their price. It's usually cheaper than just get the Auto Panel Pro, which is also in beta V3. I heard it's the same feature and function. Again, I don't have one, and I hope GoPro will send me a version of it, so I would check it out, but I would not spend $1,000 just to upgrade from V2 to V3. So, if you love this video, if you like this video, just give me a thumb up. If you don't like it, if you have more questions on Mistika VR or any post-production, workflow, stitching, anything 360 and VR related, comment below on my YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. That will help me a lot. And I will see you next time.